What will Arizona State be able to do following Cam Scatterbo leaving for the NFL? That's the real question. A lot of people out there in the social media sphere are saying Arizona State is cooked because they don't have Scat. Well, we'll see if they are. We will see here in 2025 what Arizona State brings if they can get back to the playoff. But for everybody new around here, I am Colin Bashigal, your host. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, like the video if you like the video, and subscribe for more college football content like this. As we are talking about this Arizona State squad, any sort of discussions throughout the season, by the way, very easy to find me over on TikTok. Let's get into this season preview and prediction. So if we take a look at 2024, very successful season. I mean, nobody expected this team to do anything. I thought this team was going 1-11. I thought they were going to lose to Texas State. I thought they were going to lose to Mississippi State, lose to Utah, and many more games that they ended up winning. I was completely wrong. So, by the way, if you're offended by my prediction this year, just have the assumption that I am very wrong about Arizona State because I was very wrong last year. But it was a very successful season. I mean, they lost early against Cincinnati. Still pretty early in the season, they lost against Texas Tech. And then they strung together a bunch of wins. And every week, they started to play better and better and better. They lost Jordan Tyson in the Big 12 championship. They played without him. And the team still fought very hard. They dominated Iowa State, won the Big 12 in their first year in the conference, went to the college football playoff, getting a bye in the playoff, and taking Texas to double overtime where it took a miracle 4th and 13 for Texas just to keep the game alive to go into a second overtime. This Arizona State team last year was very impressive, and when you watch Cam Scatterbo in that game, he definitely carried them to that finish line. But a lot of folks that think that Cam Scatterbo was the life ignore the fact that Jordan Tyson didn't play in that game. What if they have their NFL caliber, I should say, stud wide receiver in Jordan Tyson in that game? Are they reliant on Cam Scatterbo like that? Well, I just ask you to turn on the first 11 games of Arizona State's football season. Watch them progress throughout the first of the season. And you know what? Just watch them against like BYU. Watch them against, I don't know. You pick the team from their schedule from a year ago. Watch them against Utah earlier in the year. They were an impressive team, and it wasn't just Scatterbo. Just Scatterbo took over when he needed to try to elevate his team to be able to beat a national championship contender in which they just barely fell short. But they don't have him this year. So what do they have? Well, for starters, they bring back their starting quarterback, Sam Leavitt. They have a lot of returning production. Jordan Tyson is back off of injury. Malik McClain made a lot of plays. You also have Shaman Mateer coming back at the tight end spot, who also made a lot of plays, especially when Jordan Tyson went down. They did go to the portal and pick up Kanye Udo from Army, a really good running back in the triple option, granted. So we'll see how his role changes, but he's projected as a starter. Raleek Brown, the former USC transfer, and also Kyson Brown are both at running back. They're in a pretty good spot right there. And then again, another transfer to just watch out for is Jalen Moss coming in from Fresno State. Just a really good player, in my opinion. I think their offensive line also, with all the experience that they have 4 or 5 returning starters, and they have a redshirt senior coming in at the left guard position that has a lot of experience in football. Yeah, this offense is going to be pretty good. And again, you know, the Big 12 is very unpredictable. So just because they have a lot of returning production, you do have to keep in mind throughout this whole preview the amount of close games that Arizona State was able to pull out, the amount of luck it just takes to be able to win the Big 12 when the competitive balance is just there. I mean, heck, Houston late in the year was able to beat Kansas State, one of the worst teams in the conference, beat one of the best teams in the conference late in the year, kind of proving that the conference is crazy. Kansas beating Colorado and other games like that. Now, if you take a look at this defense, I don't know how to feel about this defense. I think they're going to be really solid, but I definitely think that they have a little bit to look at. A big question mark: how good is Keith Abney going to be at the cornerback position? Don't want him to be a liability, but Xavier Alford in the secondary is a really good player to watch out for. Yeah, that safety, Xavier Alford, very good to come up and play in the run game, but also roam in the back a little bit too. Then when you look on the defensive line, a little bit of question mark. They're going to expect for Prince Dorba to really step up as an edge rusher. Linebacker Jordan Crook, he's going to be expected to also be a leader on this defense as a senior. And then also Keyshawn Elliott. We're going to have to keep an eye on this defense because I think they could be very solid, but I'm not sure if they have the upside to go and win this conference. All right, taking a look at the Arizona State schedule breakdown, they start off and out of conference. It's not super duper tough. I mean, Texas State is a pretty tough group of 5 opponent, but still a group of 5 opponent. I don't know if they're going to be as good as they were last year. They did lose a good bit to the portal and Jordan McLeod to graduation and all that stuff. And then Mississippi State, I do definitely think they're going to be better than they were a year ago. And actually, I can't recall if Arizona State played Mississippi State out of conference last year. I thought they did at Arizona State, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure they did, though. Anyway, and then Northern Arizona should be an easy win. Now, when you look at the conference schedule, they do dodge Kansas State, but outside of that, you see Baylor on the schedule, Texas Tech on the schedule, Iowa State on the schedule, 2 of those 3 games on the road. Those are 2 of the 4, probably maybe 5 top teams projected in this conference. I guess the 2 of the 4 outside of Arizona State projected at the top. So if they're going to win the conference for back-to-back years, they're definitely going to earn it. You especially expect for Houston to elevate. We'll see what Colorado looks like. Utah is going to elevate. Arizona, I just talked about them in the last Big 12 video that I did. They're going to have a very tough offense that I think could be better than it was a year ago. So this Arizona State team definitely has a little bit of a gauntlet ahead of them. Not to mention TCU is definitely a sleeper team too. But for starters here, I think that they're going to have no problem beating Northern Arizona before going on the road to Mississippi State. We did a Mississippi State preview a few weeks ago, and I think that they're going to be able to get the win, but I definitely think it would be tough. However, of course, Mississippi State, they're going to be most dangerous in November than they are in September. They still got a lot to figure out when it comes to all the transfer portal ads, all the new players. Jeff Lebby really trying to rebuild that roster, not being able to retain some of his best players, and also kind of telling some guys, hey, we're trying to get better. You got to leave. Texas State. I mentioned that I don't know if they're going to be as good as they were a year ago. And a year ago, they gave Arizona State a game in San Marcos. This one's going to be back in Tempe, Arizona. And I think that Arizona State should have no problem getting that win. Big 12 opener is going to be a road game at Baylor. I am pretty high on Baylor. When you look at Cameron, the wide receiver, he showed up big time. They did have some bad news where, they do rotate running backs. The second string running back, Pendergrass, ended up being hurt and out for the season. So that kind of stuff sucks. They still have Washington back there. I think they're going to have a really good defense, though, a threatening pass game. I think that Baylor wins a close one here, giving Arizona State their first loss. But no need to worry yet. They lost to Cincinnati early in this Big 12 season a year ago. They could bounce back. And I think they do when they play TCU on a Friday night. They're going to get the national attention on this night. And that crowd is just going to be crazy. I think Tempe is going to be a very tough place for the Horned Frogs to travel. Off the bye, they go on the road to Utah. And I believe, if I remember correctly, Utah is also off bye, so it's not that much of an advantage. I do think preparing for this Utah offense, how new they are, with Utah having a little bit of test before that, like UCLA week 1, will be good game film for Arizona State to use. But ultimately, I think Utah is a very talented team and a sleeper team in the Big 12. I got the Utah Utes pulling out this W at home. That's 2 losses now for Arizona State, matching the amount of losses that they had a year ago. When they play Texas Tech at home, though, they're going to have revenge on their mind from what happened One of their two Big 12 losses a year ago was against Texas Tech. This Texas Tech team is very talented, much better on defense, but I think Arizona State's going to find a way to win that game in a close one. It's going to be a battle, but I think Sam Leavitt will will them to victory. Houston is also going to be a major letdown spot because that's going to be a huge game and a huge win for Arizona State. I do think that they're going to be able to survive, but I think this game is really, really close. Willie Fritz is a really good coach, and Houston's just seeming to always have this like quiet talent, even on some of their worst teams in the last couple of years that they've had in a while. They still just continue to pump out talent, whether it be Matthew Golden, who ended up transferring to Texas, Joseph Manjack a year ago. They always have talent. I think they're going to have talent again. And I think Willie Fritz is going to take a step forward this year. But that step forward is not going to include a road victory at Arizona State. At Iowa State, this is a very important game. Now, Iowa State, Kansas State, can't wait to preview that game in week 0. I do not believe I'm going to do a preview of either of those teams simply because, number one, the spoiler of that video might be in the Big 12 conference video itself. But number two, I want to save my prediction for that game for the week 0 preview of Iowa State, Kansas State, and kind of hold back. And just being very transparent and clear here, those game previews, a lot of them will be spoiled on where I'm leaning early in the season, but I definitely could change my mind. And this is a game I'm worried I'm going to change my mind, but I'm going to trust that Iowa State has a lot of their new faces on their team on offense, specifically at the wide receiver position, figure it out, and Iowa State's going to gut out a victory. They're going to be playing their best football in November, and they're well coached too with Matt Campbell. So if they already have a couple of losses in conference, they're still going to be grinding it out, and they're going to be working very hard late in the year. Off the bye week, though, Arizona State's welcoming in a cross-country trip from West Virginia, and I am hopeful that Rich Rod can turn it around in a hurry. I'm a little bit impatient over here. I like it when West Virginia's good. I love singing Country Roads or Cue Country Roads by Charles Wesley Godwin. And Charles Wesley Godwin, I'm hoping West Virginia is in the playoffs sometime soon. That ain't this year. We're taking the Arizona State W over West Virginia. We did the West Virginia preview a couple months ago, in case you were wondering what I think about the Mountaineers any further. At Colorado, this is an interesting game. This is a game that Arizona State should definitely win. I am curious what Colorado's mindset's going to be, because I can tell you right now, in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, while I'm gearing up for the season, Colorado's not going to be a part of this just dump of team previews that I'm about to be doing. I don't know what they're going to look like, first off. I don't know what their success is going to be. And if they lack success, I don't know what their buy-in is going to be in November. But I think if Dion can get buy-in, he's got more depth than he has had the last couple of years. I think that this could be a very dangerous game on the road. I'm taking a 4th loss for Arizona State before playing the Tutorial Cup against Arizona. I'm very high on that Arizona offense. I think this is going to be a shootout, a very fun game, but I think Sam Leavitt, in it potentially his final game at Arizona State, gets the last laugh. I think he is going to be able to lead the Sun Devils to victory over Arizona, leaving the Arizona State Sun Devils at 8-4, 5-4 in conference. I know for Arizona State fans, this is very disappointing, the record that I have. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate comments and stuff like that below. But with that being said, like I said at the start of the video, I got Arizona State so wrong last year that if they went 11-1 and made the playoffs, I would enjoy every second of it. I like Arizona State being good. I'm trying to be right here. I'm trying to navigate through the chaos of the Big 12 correctly. It's kind of impossible to do. This is my best guess for Arizona State. Kind of hope I'm wrong because I love Kenny Dillingham. I love Sam Leavitt, and I love this team. So I hope they do really good this year, and I hope we see them contending for yet another playoff spot. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate you. I'll see you guys in the next video where we're going to talk about the Penn State Nittany Lions.